In the far-flung corners of the Pacific Ocean, within the volcanic outcrops of the legendary Galapagos Islands, lived a titan of evolution, a true heavyweight of the reptile kingdom, the Pinta Island Tortoise. Scientifically christened Chelonoidis abingdonii, this armored behemoth was once the undisputed sovereign of Pinta Island, a remote speck of land that rose from the sea as a fiery testament to nature's raw power. The Pinta tortoise wasn't just a tortoise, it was a living relic, a monumental symbol of Darwin's theory of evolution, sculpted by millions of years of isolation, adapted to thrive in one of the planet's most unforgiving habitats. But today, this mighty creature exists only in history books, museum displays, and the haunting memory of a single individual whose name echoed across global headlines. Lonesome George. The extinction of the Pinta Island tortoise is not just the story of a species' end, it is a clarion call, a grim reminder of humanity's unchecked footprint slicing through the delicate webs of biodiversity. These creatures weren't the victims of natural selection, they were annihilated by human exploitation, invasive species, and reckless disregard for ecological balance. The story of the Pinta tortoise is a battle cry for conservation, a brutal chapter in the ongoing saga of human-induced extinctions that continue to ravage Earth's most iconic species. The Pinta Island tortoise was a marvel of adaptation, towering with a carapace length exceeding 1.8 meters and tipping the scales at over 250 kilograms. These slow-moving giants were perfectly designed to conquer the volcanic deserts of their island home. Their long necks, a hallmark of their evolutionary prowess, stretched skyward to feast on prickly pear cactus pads and the sparse vegetation that clung to life on the arid lava plains. They were living bulldozers, reshaping their ecosystem with every plodding step, every munch of succulent flora. But what truly set the Pinta tortoise apart was its role as a keystone species. These titans were the architects of Pinta's fragile ecosystem, dispersing seeds, trampling invasive shrubs, and maintaining the delicate balance that allowed endemic plants to flourish. Without their massive presence, the ecosystem began to unravel, spiraling into ecological chaos. The Pinta Island tortoise's reign was shattered in the blink of an evolutionary eye. The arrival of humans in the Galapagos marked a cataclysmic shift in the island's delicate equilibrium. Whalers and pirates of the 18th and 19th centuries, driven by insatiable greed and short-sightedness, hunted these gentle giants with merciless efficiency. The tortoises, with their docile nature and ability to survive months without food or water, became living larders aboard ships, slaughtered en masse to fuel long voyages across desolate oceans. But the devastation didn't stop with direct slaughter. Humans, the ultimate ecological disruptors, brought with them invasive species that sealed the tortoise's doom. Goats in particular became the executioners of Pinta Island. Released to provide a source of fresh meat, these feral invaders bred uncontrollably, devouring every green leaf and blade of grass, stripping Pinta's once lush terrain down to barren rock. The tortoises, now starved and displaced, were driven to the edge of oblivion. By the mid-20th century, the Pinta Island tortoise was presumed extinct, a silent casualty of human negligence. But in 1971, a glimmer of hope emerged from the desolate lava fields of Pinta, a single male tortoise, discovered by a group of scientists, battling against extinction with solitary defiance. He was christened Lonesome George, a name that would become a global symbol of conservation urgency. Lonesome George became the face of an entire species' fight for survival. Transported to the Charles Darwin Research Station on Santa Cruz Island, George lived under the careful eyes of scientists who scoured the planet for a suitable mate, a last-ditch effort to revive his species. Yet, despite crossbreeding attempts with closely related subspecies, no viable offspring ever hatched. Lonesome George stood as a living monument to human folly, the last sentinel of his kind, embodying both the resilience of nature and the crushing weight of irreversible loss. On June 24, 2012, Lonesome George was found dead in his enclosure. His death was not just the passing of an individual, it marked the complete extinction of Chelonoidis abingdonii. With his departure, a 10-million-year evolutionary journey was abruptly severed, there would be no second chances, no miraculous rediscoveries, no fairy tale comeback. The Pinta Island Tortoise was consigned to the annals of history, a stark warning of extinction's finality. But the death of Lonesome George did not pass unnoticed. His story captured global attention, igniting a worldwide discourse on conservation, biodiversity loss, and humanity's moral responsibility to safeguard Earth's natural heritage. George's embalmed body now stands in the American Museum of Natural History, a silent guardian watching over the oblivious crowds, silently narrating the tragic consequences of ecological apathy. The extinction of the Pinta Island tortoise sent ripples across Pinta's ecosystem. With the loss of its primary herbivore, the island's ecological dynamics began to crumble. The absence of tortoises allowed invasive plant species to overrun the native flora, reshaping the landscape into an alien environment. Seed dispersal halted, plant regeneration plummeted, and the fragile ecological tapestry that had evolved over millennia began to unravel. Restoration efforts have since attempted to resurrect Pinta's ecosystem. Conservationists, armed with satellite imagery, drone surveys, and ecological modeling, have engaged in aggressive habitat restoration programs. Eradicating invasive goats and introducing tortoises from genetically similar populations have been steps towards ecological rehabilitation. Yet, the ghost of the Pinta Island tortoise looms large over these endeavors, a reminder that once a species is gone, its intricate role in nature's orchestra is irreplaceable. The Pinta Island tortoise was one of several subspecies within the Galapagos tortoise complex, a stunning showcase of adaptive radiation where isolation on different islands gave birth to distinct tortoise lineages, each tailored to their unique environment. The loss of Chelonoidis abingdonii is a stark alarm bell for the remaining Galapagos tortoises, many of which teeter on the precipice of extinction themselves. These ancient reptiles, whose ancestors navigated across oceans atop floating vegetation rafts millions of years ago, are now ensnared in a modern battle against habitat destruction, illegal poaching, and climate change. Rising temperatures, shifting rainfall patterns, and the ever-encroaching footprint of tourism and human settlement pose relentless threats to their survival. The tale of Lonesome George and the Pinta Island tortoise may not be the final chapter. Advances in genetic science and de-extinction technologies have sparked debates over the feasibility of resurrecting extinct species. The complete sequencing of George's genome has opened tantalizing possibilities for cloning and genetic engineering. Could the Pinta Island tortoise one day walk again upon its native volcanic rocks? Could science rewrite extinction's permanent ink with the futuristic brush of CRISPR and synthetic biology? While the ethical, ecological, and logistical challenges are immense, the pursuit of such an endeavor underscores humanity's deep-seated need to atone for its ecological sins. The extinction of the Pinta Island tortoise is a microcosm of a global crisis. Across continents and oceans, species are vanishing at a rate unparalleled in Earth's history, driven by habitat loss, invasive species, pollution, overexploitation, and climate change. The Anthropocene era, defined by human dominance over the planet, is simultaneously becoming a mass extinction event. The loss of Chelonoidis abingdonii is not an isolated tragedy, it is a symptom of a planetary-scale illness. Conservation is no longer a passive endeavor of preserving idyllic landscapes. It has become a fierce battle to prevent entire evolutionary lineages from slipping into oblivion. Lonesome George's story transcends his species. He has become a global icon of conservation, an ambassador of extinction, and a symbol of what is at stake. His legacy is carved into every conservation initiative, every protected habitat, and every species rescue operation. George's image has graced campaigns, documentaries, and educational programs, igniting a passion for wildlife preservation in generations that never saw him alive. But a symbol alone is not enough. The Pinta Island tortoise teaches us that conservation demands urgency, action, and a relentless commitment to protecting Earth's dwindling biodiversity. It is a war that requires global cooperation, rigorous science, and above all, a fundamental shift in humanity's relationship with nature. The extinction of the Pinta Island tortoise stands as one of the most poignant chapters in the annals of conservation history. From the verdant cactus forests of Pinta to the global stage of environmental activism, the story of Chelonoidis abingdonii is a powerful testament to nature's grandeur and humanity's capacity for destruction. It is a tale of missed opportunities, of ecological ignorance, and of a species that was lost not to the forces of evolution, but to the careless hands of mankind. Yet, from this monumental loss arises a surge of global awareness, a fierce determination to protect the species that remain, to heal the ecosystems we have wounded, and to ensure that the name Lonesome George does not become the epitaph for countless other species teetering on the edge.